IVM.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories, India's very own travel podcast, where each week we share the journey of travelers in their own words and relive their experiences with you, our listeners.
Hi guys, welcome to a brand new episode on the Musafir Stories. Our guests today are the awesome threesome, Malini, Akanksha and Sindhu from the F5 Escapes, an experiential travel company run by women and for women. So let's jump on to the episode and find out more. So with that introduction, I'd like to welcome a trio from F5 Escapes, a travel company that's redefining the way women travel in India. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of the Musafir Stories and welcome to the podcast.
Hello guys and hello Wonder Woman, welcome to the Musafir Stories.
Thank you so much, Saif and Faiza. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hi Faiza, hi
Thank you Malini. Hi Sindhu.
Yeah, let's make sure we get the names right and the voices right before we get off. We have to make sure who's who. So let's start with a quick round of introductions, guys. Malini, why don't you tell a little bit more about you before we start talking about F5 Escapes?
Sure, Saif. I'm Malini Gauri Shankar. I founded F5 Escapes back in 2013. I have a background in IT. I was in IT industry for almost 7.5 years. And then I transitioned to media, which was my first switch. I was a voiceover and a dubbing artist. And then in 2013, I transitioned into my third career, which is travel. So that's my quick story.
That's awesome. Now moving on to the co-founder of F5, Akanksha. Akanksha, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Okay, so my life till about 2012 was a pretty much, a stepwise algorithm that a typical Marwadi child would have. I was born in MP, grew up in Rajasthan. And although my parents were not very conventional, I still sort of did the most cliched thing of engineering, then MBA, then corporate job. And after 5 years of that, just as an experiment, left my corporate job. I was in Bangalore back then in HR with an IT firm. And then this common friend of ours connected Malini and me, actually connected me with F5. And I wrote a very snazzy sort of message to Malini saying that I did all my jing bang, but now I wanted to travel and it sounds interesting. So we met up in a cafe and yeah, that's how it began.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. And Sindhu, what about you?
I have also come from an IT background. I was in IT for close to 4 years before I joined F5 Escapes. Close to 4 years I've been in F5 now. I love travel and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I think one conclusion that one inference that I'm coming to from all of this is that IT is driving us guys mad. That's why we're
I think it gets the best out of you, so you know where to go.
pushes you against the wall, and that's how you figure out what you really want to do in life. But anyway, we are glad that IT serves as a connecting thread between all of us. Even both of us have been in IT at some point, and Faiza's actually still doing IT and coding all day. So wonderful. I think by this time, listeners are already a little curious because I know I give a brief intro about what F5 Escapes is, but why don't you, I guess, Malini, you could pick this up. Why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit more about F5 Escapes and how you started. It's a very unique and brilliant idea about trying to redefine the way women travel. So speak a little bit more to that, Malini.
Sure, Saif. To add to what you just said, to redefine the way women travel in India.
Wonderful, huh?
So that's the vision of F5 Escapes. I was not planning to start a travel company or anything like that. But the Delhi rape happened in December 2012. And I've been a solo traveler for many years. I've traveled solo. I've traveled with family, with friends. I've been an intrepid traveler for quite a while. And at that time, when the Delhi rape happened, and then there was a lot of talk around why women should not be traveling alone, why they should be, keeping themselves safe. there was also a lot of talk around how India is still probably not that ready for tourism. And there was a lot of talk around all of that. And that made me really sad, because I've been to different parts of India, some of the remotest parts of India, and I have experienced brilliant hospitality. I really wanted to understand what was this gap in this understanding between the way we travel currently and the perception that India is very unsafe. So I was also monitoring the numbers, the tourism numbers and all that at that time. And definitely there was a hit in the numbers. So I thought, okay, I really need to do something about, travel safety. I need to do something about women's safety. But the thing that I understand is travel. So, okay, so let me try and do something around travel. That was when the idea of F5 was born. This was in Feb 2013. And in April 2013, I put out a prototype trip just to test out this idea. And it actually clicked. 2 ladies actually joined me on a trip to Sikkim, and it was a super hit. It went really well. It gave me a lot of confidence. And by June 2013, F5 was up and running. So that's the story.
Yeah, that's a brilliant story. And I think it's a great way of looking at this big tragedy also, right? I mean, a lot of us were taking this cause up, but you've literally turned this around and done something about it. I think that's the big takeaway from here, that you have literally changed that into actions and have done something about it. So I really, really appreciate that, and big kudos to you about doing this. And tell us a little bit, FI Escapes now. What are the kind of trips you organize, and what is it that kind of differentiates you from other tour operators that might be out there in the market?
So today, F5 is 5.5 years old, and we offer group fixed departures for women, all women group tours, and then customized itineraries. You might be a solo traveler, or you might be a group of girls, or even a family. We customize trips for you. And we also offer travel planning services, travel consulting services, where you could just take an itinerary from us. Right now, our primary audience for the group tours segment is the domestic traveler. So domestic travelers traveling in India. We hope to expand to get more and more women from across the world come to India and experience India, basically getting into inbound in the coming year. So that is where F5 is headed. And that's where the vision will also be realized when women from everywhere come to India and experience India without fear or anxiety. Besides, some of the other offerings of F5 also include innovative in-city engagements. For example, it could be something related to skill building, like we help women learn biking. We also have conducted horse riding sessions, horse riding 101 for women. Or it could be in terms of awareness and knowledge building. We are very much into sustainable and responsible travel, so we educate women on sustainable menstruation. We also have conducted sessions on sexuality education and prevention of abuse. So basically trying to get women to get together and discuss subjects that are otherwise not discussed.
I think that's brilliant. And one other thing that I also wanted to ask was, how has your personal travel, right? How has that had an impression or an impact on F5, right? Does that also rub off a little the way you guys travel personally? Like, what are your origins? Like, how did you guys begin traveling? Like, would you like to share some stories from that too?
Yeah, sure, Saif. I started off... I was a very young mother. I became a mother when I was just barely 23. And I kind of thought, probably I'm missing out on travel and life and all that. So when my son was barely 2 or 3 years old, I kind of, left him behind and went on a backpacking trip to Europe. Not exactly your quintessential good mother, but I had to take that time out for myself and realize that, yes, I can still travel, I can still do things that I love to do. And my son also grew up with the same spirit. So I once pulled him out of school for a month and took him to Barbados.
Wow.
So, and yeah, to the Caribbean. My, one of my cousins was getting married there. She was having her wedding there, and we just went there. So those were my origins, taking, making a few bold decisions from where I came from. It was still looked down upon, as a mother, you should not be doing these things. So that was the first time, going against the tide for me. So, and then I have done quite a few solo travels and, traveling by myself or with friends or with family.
Thank you, Malini. Those were some great pointers about your personal travel style. And Akanksha, why don't you tell us a bit about your travel style and the beginnings? Perhaps one of your memorable trips? I think that'll be good.
I think a lot of how I travel and the fact that I travel and have been traveling so much, I think that the credit goes to my parents because they always traveled with us. I mean, they were not really the backpacker hippie kinds, but they always wanted to travel and with the kids. So I remember having a very torn and rickety sofa in my drawing room and, one of our neighbors advising us to buy the sofa this Diwali. But my mom actually instead chose that we'd go out to Tamil Nadu for the winter break. So yeah, our beginnings, my parents' beginnings were not very, very affluent. So, there was always a budgeting, and I think travel took precedence over stuff. And I think that I inculcated from very early on without having been told so. So I love that. And then Madhya Pradesh is where my Nanihal is, where my mother grew up. This is 60 kilometers from Indore towards Omkareshwar. So, and I was born there. So I was born on the banks of Narmada, if you will. All my summer vacations, because going to Mama ka ghar in summer vacation was the norm. So that's what we did every single year, and it was a huge family, cousins and mom's cousins and their children. So we would at one point we would be around 50 people in that house. It was a huge mansion, and when we plan our vacations, I mean when I'm planning our trip and we're breaking our heads on the accommodation that we're doing for the women, where there will be attached bathroom every room and all those sort of things. And I sometimes reflect on the kind of comfort that we think that we are used to, where in that house of 50 people living together, we had 4 loos, I guess. There was no, there was no attached bathroom. There was no concept of having your own room. We would all sleep on the terrace. And I remember once we went to Choral Dam, which is a very beautiful picnic spot. It's a dam on the Narmada, very close to Indore, and where I used to go for summer vacations. And our vehicle broke down. This is before mobile phones, okay? This is before on-call taxis or anything. And we flagged down any which vehicle we would find, because we were 40 of us. So, one vehicle definitely couldn't take us. So there were like shifts that were going. And I remember we climbed up a truck that was carrying potatoes. Okay, so my whole journey of 30 kilometers were over potatoes with my uncle and my other cousins. And I think I don't remember Choral Dam as much as I remember that truck ride. That was the best. But so sometimes I think, not having a plan is probably the best plan, travel-wise. I mean, the only way of traveling, whether you're a luxury traveler or a budget traveler, is that you don't expect a place to be how you want it to be, and experience it the way it is, and change your day and your behavior according to the place. If you're in a mountain place, learn to slow down, soak in, or take a hike and be like really aware. It all depends on the place that you're going to. I went to a very, very different part of MP a couple of years ago. It's Patalkot. This wasn't even discovered till after independence. This is a deep gorge in Chhindwara district with around 2,000 people living in those villages. There is no accommodation. this is mostly Gond and Bharia tribes living there. And it is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It feels completely out of the world because those gorges are really, really deep. And you feel that you're really away from the rest of the world. There was nothing to stay. There was no accommodation. We actually contacted a researcher who put us in touch with a forest guard, and we stayed in his hut. And we ate what he ate. We woke up at his times. Because we were completely at his mercy. Wherever he took us, we went. Wherever he couldn't, we didn't. And although there was there is an initial frustration because as a city dweller, you're sort of used to getting things on time. And because of the internet and everything now, everything is like on your, at a click of your finger. And to wait for someone to tell you what to do and when to eat and how to go out. There are no bathrooms, by the way, there. And it's completely basic. I just realized that unless I let that ego go, I would not be able to enjoy that place. So I think that's one takeaway, that don't expect a place to be how you want it to be. Stay at home if you have that sort of expectation. Just sort of be open. And I think a travel does wonders for your ego.
Cool. And would you like to share some experiences of your own, Sindhu? Like how did
how did you get into F5 Escapes?
Yeah, how did travel begin for you, and how did F5 happen?
You would probably need an entire podcast for that, episode for that, but I'm going to try and keep it small. So I was in IT for 4 years, and back in September around 2014, I was in between jobs, and on a regular day I told my mother that I want to go somewhere far because I have some days off, and my mother told, why don't you go to Kanyakumari? And at that time, for me, it sounded like, why don't you go to Antarctica? Impossible, difficult, probably not something I can do in a million years. And I started chatting up with my friends and their mothers, and how my mom made fun of me at that point. And one of my friends' mom told, it's actually possible and you can go to Kanyakumari, and that was a big boost for me. And I came home and I told my mother that I'm going to listen to you finally, and I'm going to go to Kanyakumari. And my mother stopped talking to me for a week. And a week later, my sister told me that you told your mother that you're going to Kanyakumari. You didn't ask her permission. And that's when I realized the importance of permission, requesting, and being nice to family. And I started asking permission. I told how I'm going to be careful. It was my first time traveling outside of the city limits, and my father booked the tickets, and he booked the stay guest house for me, and he gave me the permission to travel. And I did my homework. I wanted to see a million places around. I only had 3 or 4 days, but I wanted to see as much as possible, eat as much as possible. And slowly I started figuring out that you can't really have a plan all the time. I woke up around 3 or 4 o'clock one day, and I realized that there is a beautiful sunrise happening somewhere, and everybody is walking towards that. And I started walking with them, and I got to see so many beautiful places that was not even in the itinerary that I had planned. And I realized it's okay to not have a plan, and it's okay to talk to a local person and find out what is something that they like, and go see it with them and eat with them, talk in a language that I had no idea about. So, it was a lot of discomfort, but at the same time, I explored so much that about myself and about the new place. So that's how I started traveling solo. And that has been my, solo journey so far. And after that, I have traveled to quite a few places with F5 and on my own. And in between all of this, I like to run when I'm free. I like to run in trails. So I try and mix my running with my travel and find out vacations where I can run as well. And I am a volunteer with the run called Malnad Ultra, where I get to see a lot of runners take difficult distances such as 80 and 110 kilometers and go do their thing. So it has inspired me to take up those challenges as well. So that's what I've been up to.
Great.
That's brilliant. Yeah, 80 and 110 kilometers. Faiza, do you hear that?
I zoned out in between. Oh my god, that's
crazy, but
wonderful. I mean, like when I met you, Sindhu, in person, I was so inspired by what you do. I really hope it gives an inspiration out to other people and women especially, that running is something that we all can do, and I think eventually baby steps we should start doing it. Right. So that, like, still that question in my mind: how did you get introduced to F5 Escapes, and what made you decide, or what like ticked key saying that okay, fine, I am going to go ahead and be a part of this great, wonderful organization? Yeah.
So I had this habit of writing to a lot of passionate people who do crazy things. Somebody who has quit their job to travel, somebody whose story would come online, and I would write to every single person every single day sitting in my IT desk, and none of them ever replied back. And I would imagine they're all busy, they would not have time to respond. And usually I would proofread all my emails before sending out, but one Friday I wrote an email to this person called Malini Shankar, and I just logged out of the email and came home, and I actually had a response from that person, and she said, this is one of the nicest emails I have read, so can we catch up? And I had just asked her, how are you redefining the way women travel in India? And I just want 5 or 10 minutes of your time to know what you're doing. And because I was already traveling, I was very passionate about what she was doing. So we met over a cup of coffee and masala dosa, and we spoke for a couple of hours. And, she said, would you like to join F5? And I said yes. I had no idea what I was contributing as, but I was really interested to be part of this community, to do what she was doing. And we started off with simple work, but slowly, I started leading trips. I started meeting people. I started contributing to the marketing team, and now we all work closely with each other, to help this grow. This community is, definitely growing.
That's brilliant. Guys, what I thought would be a good way was perhaps pick up one of your trips that you've done with F5 Escapes, and just run us through the process of how you plan these trips, and what goes into the pre-trip phase, how the trips are then designed, and then the experience of the trip, and then followed by closing. I think by that people also can get a flavor of the kind of trips you do, and we also get to hear your personal stories through that. So why don't you pick that up, Malini?
Yeah, in fact, I'll pick one specific trip that was a super hit last year. We had this trip to Varanasi. At F5, we have 3 clear phases where, pre-trip planning sometimes includes test visits and hearing recommendations from fellow travelers, women who have been there, and all that. And some of the places we actually go visit and ensure if it is up to our standards. And sometimes it also is based on reviews, research, and various other factors. In fact, we have a huge checklist that needs to be ticked off before we zero in on a particular place of stay and at a destination. So Varanasi trip happened for the first time in 2018 in F5. But before that, I had personally been to Varanasi in December 2017 as a solo trip. This was a part of a bigger trip where I had been to Patna, Rajgir, Nalanda, Khajuraho, Varanasi, Sarnath, and Bodh Gaya. It was a beautiful 10 days trip, and this was done my style, where I did not have too much of a plan, and I would just go and probably have a few bookings here and there, and figure out my way between places. But for a couple of train tickets and one of the stays, nothing else was booked. So that is my kind of travel. But obviously, that is not something, we cannot give something like that to our customers. So we do all the planning to the T. In fact, from, where they are eating to where they are stopping and what they are doing in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, everything is planned in an F5 itinerary. This particular trip was really beautiful because I went in winter in December, and it was completely solo. So I would go to the ghats, Ganga ghats in the morning, and around 5 o'clock and sit and meditate all by myself. And that was a very unique experience. And the next year we went there with a full group. So that was a completely different experience, but equally beautiful. So we were there in 2018 for this massive event, festival called Dev Diwali, which is the biggest festival in Varanasi. This is celebrated in the month of Kartik Purnima, which falls sometime in November, which is about 15 days after Diwali. For me, I didn't even know about this particular festival like 5-6 years ago.
Right.
But I knew the South Indian version of the festival. I am from Tamil Nadu, and we celebrate something called Kartigai Deepam, where it was my favorite festival in childhood because we would get to light so many diyas, arrange them in a row, and get to eat a lot of variety of sweets and savories. And I used to have very fond memories in my childhood of this particular. I still have very fond memories of this particular festival. And coming to know, another version of this festival, which just takes the scale to another level. Like almost 100,000 lamps are lit along the ghats of Varanasi, and all the people come together to light these lamps. It's a community festival. How beautiful is that? In fact, there are competitions between the ghats as to which ghat is decorated the best. It's so beautiful. I can't even tell you how beautiful it is. And, getting to enjoy this with a set of people, with a set of like-minded women travelers who all helped to, we all got together, we all got off the boat onto one of the ghats and lit all the lamps together. That was that would, I think, remain one of my favorite memories of F5. And when I went alone, I would just walk on these ghats. Whereas when we went as a group, one of the experiences that we had planned for the travelers was live classical music on the boat. So we had a live classical music performance of santoor and tabla on the boat, which was absolutely mesmerizing. So F5 is all about experiences, and we identify unique experiences, experiences that are unique to a destination, and we try and put them all into our trip to give it a unique flavor. You had asked me about the differentiator. This is one of them. And we work with quite a few homestays. That is another major differentiating factor, because we try and bring in the local connection as much as possible, wherever possible. Not all places, we are able to work with homestays. Some places do not have that concept. But wherever there is, we try to make use of that. We work with Havelis, we work with boutique hotels, we work with beautiful homestays across the country. A lot of these places are run by families. And when there is a family, there is automatically that layer of safety that comes in. We don't even have to promise it. So we automatically feel great when we have a, host and a hostess willing to, being there and being hospitable, right? That is something that you definitely would never be able to get in a hotel atmosphere.
True.
I definitely agree to that. And it does feel like a extended safety net of sorts, right? Especially when you start working with such hosts repeatedly on multiple occasions, it does become more like an extended family, and you feel more safe being in that environment. And I completely agree to that point. And just getting back to F5 escapes now, right? I know you've been doing this for a while now. Would you like to share some numbers now, because it's been like close to 5 years, right, since you've been doing this, Malini, in terms of say your team? I mean, beyond the three of you, right? The extended team that F5 works with, and then the amount of trips at a very high level. Share some of the stats that you might want to.
Sure, Saif. Before that, I think I should quickly summarize what each one of us do. So I started it in 2013. Akanksha joined in 2014 with just about 1 year of F5, and she literally, was there with me building the company ground up. And so she joined in as a co-founder with me in 2017. Sindhu joined in, as initially doing basic marketing and content way back in 2015. Now she takes care of marketing and sales. I generally tie the things together. I play the admin CEO role. And Akanksha now heads operations. And besides, we have 2 more people, Piyush and Devanshi, who are a part of the team. Besides this, we also have an extended team of tour leads who are all freelancers. A lot of them are loyal customers of F5 turned tour leads, which is something we are very proud of. So that's a very beautiful community that we have built and we call our own. That's where the team stands. Besides this, we have other support functions like our accounts, our graphics, and all of that. They are all outsourced. And
Malini, may I also add that we also lead tours?
Yes, we all lead tours too. Earlier, we used to lead, quite a number of trips. Nowadays, we lead the ones that we really like, and we want to go on. So, and we have also introduced a handful of international itineraries this year, mainly because our customers are asking for it. However, redefining women travel in India would be the long-term focus for F5. Yeah, in terms of numbers, we are about 5.5 years old. We have done over 210 tours, most of it in India. And we have done, we also have this inspiring travel talk series that we started way back in, March 2014 as a community initiative. And we have done 31 such events, bringing travelers together. It's a gender agnostic event. Where it's centered around a theme, and we bring travelers together and we talk about things surrounding that theme. We have done 31 events across 6 cities, and we wish to continue doing that.
I think it's a great story overall, and I think it's one of inspiration also, like how you took one event and literally turned that into something that was close to your heart and something you wanted to work towards. And the result of that has been this beautiful...
Nothing of this would have been possible without, these 2 girls especially, because they believed in me at times when I didn't believe in myself. I'm extremely proud of Akanksha and Sindhu, and without them, this wouldn't have grown into what it is. But I still have to say we have a very long way to go.
Absolutely, yeah. And hats off to you guys. Y'all just don't concentrate only on travel. Y'all do a lot of workshop for women, workshop for travelers. So great inspiration, and I really hope you guys do wonders going forward. Thank you so much for being on the Musafir Stories, and hopefully one day we join your travel and we are a part of the travel group. Saif, I'm sorry, you'll be out, but I'm going to join you.
We can plan your couple vacations. We can definitely plan your couple vacations. Wonderful. And you can probably lead. Actually, we have diversity in the tour leads team too. We have male tour leads. So both of you can actually lead tours for F5. And as I said, there would be an interview for that.
Malini, we need people to create Musafir Stories now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been brilliant, as Faiza said. And thank you guys. Thank you so much for doing this. The travel community and women in particular, by working towards empowering them and redefining the way that women travel in India. Thank you so much. It was wonderful having both of you on the Musafir Stories, and we look forward to many, many more wonderful trips. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Saif. And it has been such an honor to be a part of Musafir Stories. So many of our customers have asked us, you guys should probably talk to them. You guys are very popular and please keep up the great work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're very grateful for those kind words. And kudos to Women Power.
Yes, of course. Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. That was yet another great episode of the Musafir Stories. If you guys like the show, please subscribe to us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Audioboom, Savan, Pocket Casts, Castbox, Stitcher, or any other podcasting app available on iOS or Android. Please do leave us a review on iTunes. It goes a long way in the show's discoverability. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We go by the handle The Musafir Stories. Or, if it suits you, you could email us at themusafirstories@gmail.com or visit our website at www.themusafirstories.com for more information. All of these links will be made available in the show notes section of each episode. So here's to more traveling, sharing, and inspiring. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, happy travels and goodbye.